Welcome back to Cooking with Kayla D. I'm Kayla, and this is my husband Randy. My disclaimer. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and remember to hit that notification bell so you get all the up-to-date episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment so we can get to know you and hear your feedback on our videos, and also share. Sharing is caring. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. My husband and I, we both like the same types of foods, but sometimes there's something I like he doesn't like or he likes that I don't like. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll make something I like and something he likes, and we'll both have those things for dinner. And we're going to do this all in 30 minutes or less. So here we go. So today we're going to be making some shrimp stuffed mushrooms, and you can change it to any type of meat you want. And also some shrimp tostadas. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So let's get started on those mushrooms. For your ingredients for your mushrooms, I used a pack of mushrooms. Use as many as you would like for your recipe. Some Boursin cheese, any flavor of your choice. Gouda cheese and salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to start the mushrooms first. That way they can be baking while we're doing our tostadas. That way it's in under 30. Okay, so I used the Gouda cheese sticks. I get those from Aldi here in a snack pack. It's just easier for us. They last a lot longer and we don't use Gouda as much. So that's what we use. I just fold those in half and grate them, and it works out pretty easily. Also, I have 1 pack of baby Bella mushrooms that I have taken the stems out and cleaned. And then I also have some small shrimp set to the side for chopping. I have my bowl ready. I've got my paper towel to grate my cheese on. And then I also am using the shallot and chive boursin. And because I'm using that, I will be adding some garlic powder into that. This is my topping, and I'll give you the recipe for that when we get to that. So let's get to grating this Gouda. Like I said, I just use a small grater. I fold it in half and do it. Of course, you can use any cheese of your choice. I just like the Gouda. It is a really good melting cheese to combine all of those ingredients together and to keep it simple. So you just go ahead and get your cheese grated. And now that I have my cheese grated, I'll go ahead and move that to the side and pour my bowl over. I am going to use the shallot and chive Boursin cheese. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons. That was enough to do 1 whole 8-ounce pack of mushrooms. You could also use a portobello mushroom if you want and make this like 2 big mushrooms. I would double the recipe though, because this would be enough filling just for 1 large portobello mushroom. But that would be a good vegetarian type style to do. Also, I want to mention that these recipes are all low carb and keto friendly. You'll also want to break up your Boursin cheese as much as possible, just with your spoon. And then we're going to go ahead and bring our shrimp over and get to chopping our shrimp up. I just put it to the bottom of my cutting board. It just made it easier for me. You just want to go ahead and just cut this up into tiny little pieces to where you're getting a nice chunk of shrimp when you're biting into your mushroom, but yet it's not too big because you need it to fit into the mushrooms, those little holes in your mushrooms. Also, make sure that your shrimp is cleaned, deveined, and all the shells and tails are off. I bought mine at Walmart. They're wild caught. They have them there in a bag for the small shrimp, and they are already clean, deveined, and everything. No tails on, but I still wash them very thoroughly for probably 3 to 4 minutes. And I also soak them in water for 10 minutes in salt water, and then rinse them again 2 more times just to make sure that anything that's been missed gets off of there. So then add your shrimp to your Boursin cheese and start adding in your grated cheese. I always add in half of the grated cheese and mix it around first, and then I'll go ahead and add in the rest of it. I also went ahead and added in a little bit of garlic powder and some cayenne and a tiny pinch of salt and pepper. My husband likes a little bit of heat, so I did do like a pinch of cayenne pepper just to kind of balance out the richness of the recipe. And then we also did add about a quarter of a teaspoon of garlic powder because of the boursin I used. I didn't use the garlic and herb. I used the shallot and the chive. So I wanted to go ahead and add a little garlic into that because he loves his garlic. You can opt to use the crushed red peppers instead of the cayenne pepper. I just chose cayenne because it's more finer for this specific recipe. And because we're stuffing mushrooms and you have tiny holes you're putting this into, I felt that the cayenne would evenly distribute throughout the filling rather than using the red chili flakes. And some may get it and some may not. So that is the reason why I did choose the cayenne pepper for this recipe. Make sure to add in the rest of your Gouda cheese or whatever cheese you chose to use, and make sure you mix it around very well so it is evenly dispersed. It is going to be a little thick, as you can see here, but it will actually cook and melt very well inside of the mushrooms. Next, we're going to go ahead and take our mushrooms and start stuffing them. So I just make sure to get a little piece of shrimp. I try to put the shrimp into the mushroom and more of the cheese on the outside. It just, for me, I thought it would keep the shrimp in the mushroom better. But after thinking about it, I was like, oh, duh, Kayla. Because, like, okay, you're cooking your shrimps with the holes faced up. So those little shrimps aren't going to come out. I don't know what I was thinking. I just had one of those, dee type moments. But go ahead and just take a little spoonful into each of your mushrooms and start filling them up. Make sure to have a tiny little hump coming out of the mushroom because you want it to have enough filling. So because it's so thick, it can have a little hump. It's not going to melt out too bad. So you can have a slight little hump coming out of the top. That way you're not wasting any of your filling. And like I said, this was enough for a whole 8-ounce packet of mushrooms. And so after you get your mushrooms filled, go ahead and set your mushrooms to the side. And now for your mushroom topping, you're going to want a quarter cup of Italian breadcrumbs or plain breadcrumbs and add Italian seasoning to them. Also 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, finely grated or the powder kind on the shaker, and 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Also, you can add salt and pepper to taste, but I do not recommend it. There's enough seasoning inside your mushrooms. You don't want the salt and pepper to overpower it. I already had mine blended because I had made mushrooms this previous last couple of weeks. I keep it in a snack bag and put it in my crisper. You have to keep it cold, but it does keep for 30 days. So you go ahead and take your mushrooms and you just roll them around that cheese filling right into it and place it on your baking sheet. I did use a baking sheet and I lined it with Pyrex paper or parchment paper. That is the best option for me. You can do it any way you want. You also don't have to bake these in the oven. You can put them in the air fryer. I do not know the settings because I have not air fried them before. But if you pull up any stuffed mushroom recipe, I'm sure it will give you the amount of time that you would need to do mushrooms. I'm done. I just go ahead and pour my filling back into my Ziploc bag and put it back in my crisper. I've got another 2 weeks on it, so then I have my mushrooms done. I'm going to go ahead and put those in my oven at 375 degrees for 20 minutes. And while those are baking, here are the ingredients you'll need to cook your shrimp for your shrimp tostadas. You'll need some olive oil, butter, garlic, cayenne pepper, or red chili flake. Or you don't have to have heat at all if you don't want. You can withhold it. A little bit of cumin, some onion powder, salt and pepper to taste. First, you want to put your skillet over medium. And you want to add your olive oil and your butter. And I just used a couple tablespoons of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. And I melted that down. I didn't show it on here, but I did add garlic to the pan. I went ahead and put my shrimp in. And then I added a little bit of salt and pepper, just a pinch each, not too much. I went ahead and added in the rest of my seasonings. I did some cayenne pepper, and I just sprinkled just a tiny bit, a little bit of onion powder, and I sprinkled a tiny bit of cumin. And I did do less cumin than I did cayenne, just because I love cayenne. I like the spice. I only wanted a little bit of the cumin in there. After I cooked it for 1 minute, I flipped it over to the other side and went ahead and cooked it for 1 additional minute. After cooking it 1 minute on each side, I removed it from the heat and placed the shrimp into a bowl. I got a skillet again and filled it up with some olive oil and started frying my tostada shells until they were crispy on both sides. Now you can buy your tostada shells already done, but for me, I wanted to use a low carb corn tortilla, and I will have a link in the description box of the company that I buy my low carb tortillas from. They're delicious, and I believe they're only 4 net carbs per tortilla. It could be 3. I don't remember, and I don't have the package for it anymore. I threw it away a couple of weeks ago, and I don't have any more in my freezer. I do need to order some more, but it is a great option for you low carb eaters out there, or even if you're just wanting to cut some carbs and change some of the ingredients you're putting into your body. So my husband and I, we do order them and they come shipped, and we have to buy, well, we don't have to buy a lot, but we do buy it in a higher amount just so we have them in the freezer. And we have kept them up to 6 months in the freezer. They last a very long time. And I also will keep them in the fridge for up to 30 days after I've opened a pack, and they're fine. They don't get bad. So they generally don't last that long, but you know. So now that our tostada shells are done, let's work on our building of our delicious tostadas. For the toppings, this is what I chose, and of course you can use whatever you want, any proteins, any toppings. But I have the shrimp that we cooked. I also have the tortillas, the corn tortillas we cooked, some avocado, some crema or sour cream, some lettuce or cabbage, radishes, anything you want. I did cilantro, onion, lime. So I have a half of an avocado here, and it was frozen. I thawed it out for a little while, and so some of the pieces are still frozen, but that's okay. I just mush it all up and it ends up evening out. So I take my fork and I mush my avocado up, and once I have it all mushed up, I added in 1 to 2 tablespoons of sour cream or Mexican crema, which is sour cream. It's just easier on my tummy, so I use the Mexican crema. You can see I also added in a small pinch of salt and pepper already. So after I have that mixed into there, that is going to go directly onto my tostada shell. Like normally you'd be putting refried beans on there. Well, this is like a colder, it's a hot day, you want a refreshing cold dish to eat. That's what this is. Shrimp or chicken. You can even do grilled chicken and let it cool off. I have sliced radishes, I have some chopped up onion and cilantro, and I also have some limes pre-cut up and ready to go. I'm going to use the spring mix because that's what I hand on hand for my lettuce. And then I also have this cream salsa verde that we got by accident in a grocery delivery, and it actually turned out to be really good. So it's definitely something we're going to continue to keep on buying. So I have my tortillas. They're nice and crunchy. As you can see, they're holding their shape very well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my spatula, and I'm going to start spreading the avocado mixture evenly. And that was enough avocado mixture for 2 tostadas. And I'm talking like a healthy amount of the avocado sour cream. It was amazing how it just worked right out. And the 2 tostadas were a perfect amount for me personally eating this. And as you can tell, yes, Randy, he ate the mushrooms and I had the shrimp tostadas. He doesn't like tostadas, well, shrimp ones at least, because he doesn't like a lot of vegetables. And I'm not real big on stuffed mushrooms. I like fried mushrooms and spaghetti and on pizza and stuff. But as for soft, gushy mushrooms, I'm not really into that. So that's why we went ahead and opted to have those things that the other one doesn't like type night. I call it opposites attract night for cooking. Simple, easy, fast recipes. So once you have that spread out on your tostada shell, you're going to go ahead and put a little bit of your lettuce or your cabbage or whatever type toppings you want. At this point, I did the lettuce because I like a lot of lettuce when I'm having any type of a chilled vegetable dish. So I chose to do quite a bit of the spring mix because that's what I had on hand. After I put my spring mix on, then I'll go ahead and add some shrimp to that. And I make sure to evenly disperse the shrimp so that when I'm taking each bite, I will generally get a nice piece of shrimp in each bite. I did use the small shrimp for this recipe, as you can see. And I used about a dozen and a half pieces of shrimp for 2 tostadas. I figured about 8 to 10 shrimps per tostada. And so that's what I did. And as you can see, it worked out just fine. So next I went and I got my chopped onions out and I added my onions to the top of this. You can do pico de gallo if you want because it already has like onion, cilantro, and tomatoes and all that in there. I just chose to do it this route. You could also add like diced jalapenos or serranos, whatever you want and what's good for like you and your family. I also added some chopped cilantro and I had some radishes from taco night, so I went ahead and added 4 slices of radishes onto each one. But before I did that, I wanted to make sure the lime got all over it, so I went ahead and I scraped 1 lime wedge across each tostada because I love lime juice, or in Mexico they call it lemon juice. I love it all over. So I do 1 wedge per item. And there you go. I have my radishes. I put those on top. And once I got that all on there, that little shrimp, it kept falling over because of the way I put my spring mix. Frustration of cooking, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and drizzle that salsa all along the top of those. And then we will get those plated up and they are ready to eat. Yummy, yummy, yummy. That salsa is so good. It has a little kick. I'm not going to lie, but it's delicious. And there is our delicious, yummy shrimp tostadas. And I just want to do a shout out to little chef Naughty because Low Carb Love's daughter, Naughty, she did a shrimp tostada recipe, and when I saw it, I just had to try it and kind of switch it up for my own liking and what I had on hand, and I just want to do a shout out for her. She is amazing. I will also have a link in the description for her Instagram, and then also for her mom, she has a channel on YouTube, Low Carb Love, and an Instagram, and I will put links to those as well. So there is our delicious shrimp tostadas. I hope you enjoy it. I did. And now our mushrooms are fresh out of the oven and ready, right in time to eat those tostadas. Yay! And here they are, plated up for my husband. I let them cool for 5 to 7 minutes before eating, just to make sure it's safe. As always, thank you for being here on Cooking with Kayla D. Thank you for coming and enjoying time with us. We had a beautiful rainbow here in Myrtle Beach after a storm rolled through. It is our rainy season and wanted to share that with you. We also took time to go out to the beach and have a walk and play in the waves a little bit the last few days. Wanted to share these gorgeous photos with you. When the storms break for a little while, we like to enjoy it as much as we can. And from here, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, we'd like to say, stay in that kitchen and keep on cooking. And until next time, God bless you.
It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Lamentations 3:22 and 23.
If you haven't subscribed, you can click here and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to get all the latest episodes. Also, here's 2 other creative recipes I thought you'd enjoy if you like stuffed mushrooms and those shrimp tostadas. Thank you for coming. Adios.